I'm planning on keeping my truck for a long time, but one of the things that you'll notice as a truck ages is that all of the steel fasteners start to become stuck and rusted, especially if you live in the Rust Belt. This is the worst part about maintaining an older vehicle, and I can't tell you the number of times that I've snapped off a stud trying to remove a fastener. And once you snap a stud off, you have to drill it out and then tap a helicoil, and those are not exactly easy to have a great outcome from. It's just way better if you're able to remove the original fasteners and then replacing them with new nuts or whatever you have to do. The point here is not to make extra work for yourself by breaking additional things, including studs or bolts, when you're trying to remove this old hardware. And in this video, I'm going to show you a new tool in my collection which is going to aid the disassembly and removal of this old hardware. The typical way of dealing with this problem is to liberally soak the offending rusted hardware in something like PB Blaster and hope that this solvent can wick its way into the threads. If you're lucky and the hardware is in good shape, this might be enough. But if that doesn't allow the nut to turn, here's where a calibrated elbow and some experience can really help, because you don't want to over torque the nut and potentially snap that stud or bolt. Been there, done that. If you can't easily loosen the nut after PB Blaster, then heat is the next step. Applying heat directly to the nut will cause the metal in the nut to expand more than the bolt or stud does, which helps gain some clearance to help you loosen that nut. Now, the normal way of doing this is via some form of torch, whether it's something low-key like a propane torch, or you could go so far as using an oxyacetylene torch to heat up your hardware. While this is an accepted and time-proven method, it does come with some risk. If you're using concentrated flames near the fuel tank, a little bit of leaking vapor will have disastrous consequences. At the very least, it's pretty easy to burn something behind that nut that you're trying to unfreeze. Is there a better way to do this than using flames? Well, I think so. And the name of the tool is called an induction heater. Let's do a quick unboxing so you can see what this looks like. All right, let's do a little unboxing of this KKSevens magnetic induction heater. All right, nice looking case. Manual. This is something I like, where you've got, if you set aside the manual, which if you're like me, probably can't find most of them, but you've got instructions on how to use the unit here. And what we've got is a whole ton of these induction coils. Look at these things. So look at all these. So you can pick the coil which is going to fit your application. This is really kind of neat. Lots of them there. And then we've got some big ass knobs, which I assume are for the terminals. Oh yeah, so they probably go in right there. Who needs a manual? Look at this thing. This thing's a lot beefier than I expected. So basically what you're going to do is connect them into here, twist the knobs, and then we're going to get some instantaneous heat right in that area. Induction heat. There we go. And there's a nice light on here as well too. So install the coil properly and tighten the knob securely. Always loop the coil around the screw during use. Operating without a load may reduce the product's lifespan. Never press the power button without a heating target in place. Okay, awesome. This is pretty cool. All right, let's see how it works. Here's the first test. You can see this. I've got this 1/2-inch bolt with a nut on it, and it's not frozen or anything, but what we're trying to do is to see how we can heat it up. Now, as I put a laser on that, I'm going to see that it's about 86 degrees or thereabouts. So let's add a little bit of heat to it. Let's see how well we can do. We're going to just use a propane torch here, just a standard propane torch. All right, the nut is starting to get a little bit dull looking. It's heating up. It's about 600, 700 degrees right now. All right, this is taking a long time to heat up through propane, and I want to see what the temperature is now. So I'm going to turn the heat off. And measure that, and I've got anywhere from, it's all over the place really, but it's roughly 600 degrees, 560 to 600 degrees. And now it's starting to cool down. Okay, so we're going to let this cool down for a while, and then we're going to try the induction heater and see if that's a little bit more efficient. Okay, we've got our induction heater now, and remember when I showed you the coils, we've got a number of coils, and they are different sizes. So what we're going to do is we're going to fit the coil. So this one's obviously too small to go around the nut. This one's the next size up, and it just does clear. In my way of thinking, that's probably the closest proximity is going to give us the best effect. However, this could also maybe damage the fabric around there. So what I'm going to do is go up to the next size and see how this does. And if this doesn't give us the right effect, I will go down one size. So we're going to use this one and then try to center this induction coil right around the nut and then see how we do. Now, looking at the temperature, we still have it's about 180, 200 degrees, so it is certainly cooled down, and we would expect to see a lot more temperature. So I'm going to give it a few more minutes to cool down, and then we're going to hit the nut with some induction heating. Okay, the nut is cooled down enough, so we've got our induction heater. We've got it plugged in, and what we need to do is, if you see the button here, this is what we need to hit. But as we read, we've got to have the load around it first. So let's set up for a little induction heating. We're going to hit the button now. And I can hear the thing humming right now. There's definitely a load around there. So I'm going to give it about 2 minutes, and then I'm going to measure the temperature. The fan you hear is the cooling unit inside of the induction heater. I don't know if you can see that, but the fabric that's covering the wire is discoloring. It's getting very dark, and that's from all the heat. I can feel the heat that this thing is putting off. So notice there's no flame. Holy smokes, I can tell that the, look at that. The nut is actually getting cherry red. This is crazy. The nut is getting cherry red. I don't know if you could see it. Wow, that's insane. It is literally orange. I'm going to turn this light off so you can see this. This nut is orange. It is super hot. Look at that. Okay, let's measure the temperature now. Okay, we're getting readings somewhere in the up to 800, 900. It is definitely hotter than when it was using the propane. That is crazy. I never would have expected that. And we could have even heated it up faster had we used the smaller coil. Okay, let's summarize here. I get to review a lot of products for this channel, and quite honestly, most of them come in right around where I expected to. I had that impression with this product as well. I thought, okay, an induction heater is probably going to be just as good as a propane torch at heating up a nut, but it's going to be safer because you don't have flame flying all over the place. Wow, I can't believe how effective that induction heater was. You stuck it on the nut, it's there for 2 minutes. Next thing you know, you've got an orange nut ready to go. So, you know, without all the flame, without all the danger, without all the fumes and everything, all you need is the 120 volts. And you've got yourself something that is going to be far, far more effective at loosening that rusted hardware when you get when your truck gets to that age where you need to start breaking loose bolts. And it's not going to be that long for me as well too. So again, I was super blown away. I love this kit. I am so glad to have this in my possession because I'm going to be using this thing for years and years to come. And it's going to be incredibly effective and useful down the road. So if you'd like to know more about this, I've left a link in the description below. It's a reasonable cost for something that's this effective, and I hope you check it out. As always, thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.